Hello everyone and welcome to today's morning report with me, Richard Perry, Markets Analyst at Handtech Markets for Tuesday the 3rd of June. The handover that European trading has had early morning has been fairly cautious actually, and that generally is due to the fact that you've got at 10 o'clock UK time this huge announcement of Eurozone CPI that has put traders just in a rather sitting on their hands mode. And we saw yesterday that Wall Street markets actually pushed to another all-time high, but you saw also a little bit of I think you would also say a bit of caution with the fact that you've had a couple of revisions of the ISM data, ISM manufacturing data for the States yesterday. That's sort of put that doubt in traders' minds as well. The Chinese HSBC flash PM, the HSBC manufacturing PMI data, which is the revised number from the flash data that we had a week or so ago for China, that actually showed a revision downwards, 49.4 from the 49.7 release. But also we saw the services PMI data for China at a 6-month high as well. So a couple of bits of slightly mixed data there for China, but certainly Asian markets were higher, predominantly helped higher, I think, also by the weakness in the yen that we've seen in recent days. That's helped the Nikkei push into stronger territory. But as I said, Forex trading today is fairly mixed, not a great deal of direction. A little bit of gains that we're seeing on the Aussie dollar. That's come after the RBA kept rates flat at 2.5% overnight. In terms of equities, the VIX index remains at this extreme level below 12, and is sort of stabilising around there. As I said, in terms of the dollar, we've seen this push. I've sort of zoomed out slightly here and drawn in this line at 80.4, which has seemed to be a bit of a pivot level. You see on several occasions it's used as the pivot level, and we've pushed back above there. So does that now mean that we're going to start to see some dollar strength back towards these highs are above 81 again? So that could be an interesting move. As I said, we've seen a stronger dollar in recent days, so that is reflective of that move. You've got a couple of bits of data actually out this morning at 10 o'clock for the Eurozone. First of all, the unemployment data I'll quickly touch on. That is at 11.8 currently, so we'll see how that moves. The expectation is around about this similar level for 11.8 at 10 o'clock, but the main focus will certainly be on this inflation data, because Draghi has suggested that the ECB staff projections that are going to be formulated and helped to derive the ECB Governing Council's decision on whether they do any what degree of monetary easing they engage. That inflation data comes out at 10 o'clock. 0.7% is expected, so a similar reading to last month. But anything above there, you might see a fairly sizable short squeeze on the euro. 350 points the euro has dropped since Draghi's press conference last month at the ECB monetary rates meeting, and that came on the back of the fact that he basically alluded to the ECB being comfortable with acting this month and ready to act, basically. So we'll see how that goes, but certainly if that inflation data comes in higher than expected, then it could mean that the ECB has less of an excuse to engage certainly full-blown quantitative easing, which is highly unlikely anyway. But also the market's already got baked in a rate cut down to 0.1% on the main refinancing rate, and possibility of even negative deposit rates as well. So that is going to be impacted by the HICP flash data that we're going to get at 10 o'clock today. So the market will be certainly very nervous around that time, and could be highly volatile afterwards as well. Okay, so that's the data we're looking out for today. My chart of the day is actually the Canadian Loonie, which is now beginning to show signs of a slight recovery on the dollar side. I said earlier that the dollar has been recovering, and that is being shown now in an improvement against the loonie, which has been strengthening over the past 10 weeks. You've had this trend lower. There's no if I try to draw in a trend, there's no absolute trend, but certainly there is you'd say an instance where there is lower highs in place there on the loonie, and just this move overnight just starts to possibly suggest that there is an improvement at foot. The RSI is at a 5-week high, which certainly suggests a slight improvement anyway. You're back above this 21-day moving average, which has sort of been capping these gains over the past 5 weeks as well. So we're looking at that, and I'll show you on the intraday chart as well. Just the fact that we've had this on the last couple of weeks, or 10 days, couple of weeks, we've seen this downtrend in play, and that got decisively broken yesterday. So we're going to be looking out to see if this improvement continues. You've got a couple of support levels, 108.73, just 108.85, 108.86. So we've just around about that held that initial support, but 108.73 and also 108.66 comes into play as the two supports on the downside. But it just looks like we're just beginning to turn around. You've got this improvement in the hourly momentum indicators, which suggests that momentum is improving, as I said, and you've got this key resistance now at 109.41. Now that is that key high on the daily chart, which was back from late May, and that is the key lower high there. So if you start to move for a test of that and a breach above it, then we could start to see a sustained improvement in this dollar loonie chart. On the downside, as I said, you've got these two supports here. 108.66 is probably the key one there now you'd be looking at, and below there you'd be looking at around about 108. What's that? Sorry, 108.40. Yeah, 108.40 is the low that we need to be looking at, just under that 108.66 as well. But I just think that this chart is beginning to now shape for a test of that 109.41, so signs of an improvement, although we coming on a little bit of pressure. We'll see if we can form a low, another higher low within this move, around about that 108.66 to 108.80 level. Okay, so I wish you good luck in your trading on dollar loonie today, and don't forget this huge bit of data out at 10 o'clock UK time for the Eurozone inflation, and I will speak to you later. Thank you.